In Spirit Lake, Iowa, the history of rail travel and business is on display at the Dickinson County Historical Museum.
KTIV's Clayton Anderson went to the museum that is once an active train depot.
The museum takes guests right into what an active train depot looked like dating back to the 1800s. And there used to be a big-time export in the early days of the depot.
In our area, the goods that would have been shipped out of here in the earliest of days would have been, believe it or not, ice. Ice harvesting was a big deal. Would have been hunted goods, fur trappers, pelts, things like that.
Ice harvesting was a necessary job during the winter as refrigeration was not yet a reality. The harvest usually lasted 2 to 4 weeks, but in that time, ice was cut out of the lake by the ton. It was reported as hard and dangerous work. And I'm sitting on the bench where people would have sat to wait for their train to arrive here at the depot. The museum is at what once was an active train depot and was instrumental to Spirit Lake and the surrounding community.
It's also the place that everything left from. The depot was really the hub of the community for decades here. It was the railroads that brought everything into Dickinson County.
The museum showcases a whole other room that was added later to the depot. That room includes history of the Iowa Great Lakes, schools in the region, and even a nod to the University of Okoboji, a club that rallies behind a pretend college and even a mascot in the Okoboji area. But the museum is ever evolving now. They are trying to fundraise to update a portion of the museum in the depot that is now able to be showcased year-round.
We have been working for the past year with a firm, Edwards Creative, out of the Quad Cities, to design exhibits, interactive exhibits throughout the depot space that will bring the story of the railroads in Dickinson County to life for folks.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of Hometown History here in Spirit Lake, Iowa. Join us next time to see where we travel next. From Spirit Lake, Iowa, Clayton Anderson, KTIV News 4.
Now, we do have information on how to donate to the museum's fundraising efforts. You can find that on our website at ktiv.com.